A lot of people feel like life is harder than it should be. They're working hard, they're responsible, and somehow they still feel behind. Most people assume that means they need more discipline or motivation. But what if that's not the problem? What if life feels hard because of the way it's structured? Once you see that, a lot of things start to make sense. Let's be honest, y'all. Life for most all of us does feel harder than it needs to be. We followed the system in life, and the system in reality that we chose to follow, we went and got a good job, we did what we were supposed to. In all reality, the expectation that was set to us is that life shouldn't be bad, you shouldn't feel left behind. It should be good. In a lot of ways it is, but it's taught us to be more reactive in life. In a way, if you think about it, we're paying rent on living. And I'm not like literally talking like renting your place, but we're kind of renting it. We're living reactively, and we're just waiting for like the next hardship or whatever to come along, and we figure out how to get through it. But there's not really that proactivity that was built into the system that we were taught. Like we weren't taught like how to gain more financial freedom, how to really, take full control of our health for the most part. Like there's all these things that the system didn't teach us and build it, so we feel like we're left behind. And this is where that whole concept, the concept of renting versus owning comes in. Like I say, right now, most all of us, we're renting our life, right? So this example, I'm not telling you we all need to own our own business, because we don't. Like, let's be real. But like, let's take our careers. We basically punch a clock, or we're on salary, and we're set with this expectation. Hey, you're going to show up at this time. You can leave at this time. If you don't, you get your paycheck, and you know what? You might not be working here anymore if you don't. And so we don't own that time. We're renting that time to somebody else. It's not really ours at that point. It could be with any other number of things as well. And like when you think about that, it's like, okay, like that's quite the epiphany right there. Like, dude, I really don't own my life. And it comes down to the system, and we want more, and we're like, I'm motivated, I'm going to do it, but like we don't always have the motivation, we don't have the energy. It's just the reality of it. I like to think about the body battery. So I recently purchased a Garmin running watch, because that's kind of like my new thing is running. And it produces like all these stats, and one of those things is the body battery. It like monitors your sleep and a bunch of other crap. I don't know how it gets that. And like I've noticed that there's like the days I feel like I'm on top of the world, I look at my body battery and it's like 70-80%. And then there's some days where I'm just like, let's just get through the freaking day. I don't give two shits about anything else. And the body battery's like sitting at like 20%. And that's just the reality. Is some days there's just not the energy, there's too much friction, that the motivation's just not there. And then you're like, how am I going to own my life? Especially those days. That's one of the reasons I feel behind. And what it comes down to for owning is just like taking at least one aspect of your life right now, and you're going to create a system to own that aspect of your life. And with the system, the thing that's great about that is a system will eliminate friction. And when you eliminate friction, it comes from making a decision once. And you're making that decision on a day that you're more motivated, because more likely than not, that's also the day that you're going to create your system. And with that system, it goes back to you're creating, or you're making your decision one time. Like, let's take fitness, for instance. I think that's an easy one to explain, let's maybe even hit another example or two. But, it might be like, I want to take so many inches off of my waist. I want to lose weight. I guess that's all weight loss shit. But, or, like I'll share one thing, no flex, no brag. Like, I decided, I've had it on my bucket list for a lot of years. I'm like, I'm a weirdo. I want to run a marathon. So I staked my flag. I entered one. And then what I did was I looked at my schedule, said, hey, these are the days during the week realistically I can consistently get out on a run. I went and downloaded an app, got a plan set up and structured, and my decision's made. I know that like on Monday and Friday, I'm going to go for a run. For me, Monday is a day off, so I have my long run scheduled for that day. So I know Monday the decision's made. My energy and my motivation might not quite be there, but I stake my flag. I'm like, I want to be able to run 26 plus miles by this date. To get there, I've got to run on these days, and the decision's made. So I have my system. On Monday, I lace up and I go run a bunch of miles. On Friday, the run's usually something a little bit different. But the system's in place, and I've taken ownership of that part of my life. And because I've done that, I don't need to rely on my motivation. It's just there, the decision's done, it's automatic, and I'm seeing the results. Like, and you guys can do that for any part of your life. I mean, heck, it could go back to you do want to be your own boss. And you find like that day or two a week where you say, okay, right now at this point in my life, I can dedicate X number of hours. So you invest that towards your business, or, it could even be like owning the relationship you have with your partner potentially. And so it goes back to, you make that decision once. And as I'm rambling about this, I challenge you to find somewhere in your life where you want to own it and not rent it anymore, and do exactly that. Like, create a system for yourself and say, here is my plan to go from renting to owning my life in this aspect. And I am curious what you guys are going to choose. And once you choose something, throw it down in the comments below. I think this would be a fun discussion for us to all have. And in the comment section, maybe even like a few strategies or systems you created. But the system's what's going to get you ownership. And it goes back to, it's because you've made the decision once. You've removed the friction. You know when and where you're going to take the steps for ownership. And y'all, at this point, I'm pretty much rambling. And so, I think it's a good time to call it a day here. But if you made it to this point in the video, I truly appreciate you for hanging in there. And with that, y'all, better every day.